Hi, my name's Matt. I play games and I'm socially insecure. For centuries, epic gamers have been asking themselves this question: is Nekopara art, or am I just really horny for cat girls? And yes, you would be right. You are really horny for cat girls, but that's beyond the point. Video games have been around for like more years than I have fingers, but we never really considered it art, and that begs the question: are video games art, or am I really horny for cat girls? So to answer the question, are video games art, we have to find out what is art. And guess what? That's a whole other controversial can of worms I'm getting into. Look, I really want to tell people my favorite piece of art is Minecraft Story Mode. Can you blame me? So for the sake of argument, we'll create our own definition of art using the power of Google and my brother's academic knowledge of art. Hey, is Nekopara art, or am I just really horny for cat girls? What? By typing art in the Google search bar, we get this definition. Art is the expression or application of human creative skills and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. So there's clearly a problem with this interpretation. Apart from the fact that it's just lame and bland, it's also very vague. From how I see it, this interpretation of art means that everything man made is art. But how? Well, if art is the expression of a man's imagination, then to find out what is considered art, we must first ask ourselves, what does this express while looking at an art piece? We can answer this question with most types of art, may it be music, painting, or even dancing. But see, that's where the problem lies. Yes, art can be music, painting, or dancing, but it is not limited to that because the interpretation simply states it must express a man's imagination. Now that really expresses my PTSD. So to explain my point, between these three things, which of them are art? If you answer D, then what are you doing? Have you even been listening to me? The answer is actually all of them. Each single one of these items were created to express a man's imagination and creative skills. Mona Lisa, at its most basic form, expresses a man's imagination and interpretation of the woman posing. Yes, even though Mona Lisa might be a portrait, it is drawn by a man who looked at a woman and drew her likeness in his view of the world. It is his expression of his imagination of the woman posing. Therefore, Mona Lisa is art. What about the chair then? Well, let's ask ourselves, what did this item try to express? The idea of a chair expressed the man's need to sit, so that man used his creative skills to create something that would let him act on his idea. An idea that came from his imagination. That idea was to build an IKEA chair and sit down. Therefore, this IKEA chair, and all chairs, are art. There's clearly a loophole in this definition. You can say anything is art just by answering this question. What is the use of this item? Or to put it more bluntly, if I remove that item, why would you want it back? Then you take that answer and insert it into the sentence. This piece expresses a man's need for blank, so that man uses creative skills to fill in on that need and therefore act on his imagination. Here's an example. If someone removed Kirby Matt, actually, I don't think I would want it back. Bad example. Here's another one. A door. If I remove your bedroom door, why would you want it back? I would want it back because it lets me have privacy. And so if we insert that answer in the sentence, it would sound a little like this. This piece expresses a man's need for privacy. So that man uses creative skills to fill in on that need and therefore act on his imagination. And if I want to bash on this definition even more, since this definition only includes everything man-made, that means that anything that comes from nature is not art, whether you like it or not. I'm sorry, Fix3. Your time will come soon enough. So for now, let's just put Google's definition in the trash. But here's the problem, we're not even any closer to finding out what's art, and even less close to knowing if I'm really just horny for cat girls. If Google can't answer, we'll have to look into professionals. And by that, I mean actual artists. Looking into artists, I could clearly see a pattern, and I was starting to doubt myself. This is Pipe Mondrian. He's the man who made the most uncomfortable chair on purpose. And he also did these things. So that's pretty cool, I guess. You've probably seen some of his artwork before, and it probably got you to ask the same question we have right now. Why the heck is this art? One of his most known painting is called Composition with red, blue, and yellow. Guess what? It's literally just red, blue, and yellow on a composition. Okay, so you're telling me Composition with red, blue, and yellow is art, but Kirby Matt isn't? God, we really have fallen as a society. If we look into it, this painting actually represents the need for efficiency with the perfect 90-degree angles and the most basic forms a human can draw. Squares! Also the colors, which are the 3 primary colors, which represents efficiency because those colors create every other colors, which clearly means they pay their taxes on time. And if we go back to that chair I mentioned earlier, it also represents efficiency, because it's so uncomfortable you want to get up as soon as you sit on it. And getting up means being productive. So, was Google right? Was I obviously wrong because I never looked into the history of art before this? That's how it felt. Until I found this mess of an artist. Meet Anish Kapoor. Anish is basically the troll of art. His art is chaotic, doesn't follow any guideline, and simply tries to break your mind with an overload of information in his 3-dimensional art. It's not some deep interpretation of the modern everyday life. He just likes the color black and breaking minds on Sundays. Even his website makes you question reality itself. That is really bad web design. Most of his art isn't expressive of anything. Of course, many will come up and give an in-depth explanation of his art, and some of his art might have meanings, but I think people are just looking too deep into it. Because at that point, aren't we just finding meaning for the sake of making sense of something? And that's where it hit me. I've been looking at this all wrong. I was trying to find a deep meaning to art this entire time, trying to explain why something deserves to be called art, like what's some kind of title you could earn, when in fact, it's nothing like that. The title of art is not something you can earn because it's not a title. Earlier, when I said Google's interpretation of art was bad, I was right, but not in the way I thought of. Art doesn't need to be pretty, deep, or anything else. It doesn't need to express anything. Heck, it doesn't need to exist. Some guy out there probably created a piece that is literally nothing and called it art, and he'd be right. We shouldn't be asking ourselves what is art or why is art. Art is all. That's about it, really. So, are video games art? Yeah, they are. And so we finally answered the lifelong questions gamers have been asking. Yes, Nekopara is art. But I'm still really horny for cat girls. Hey everyone, it's Matt without a script. Just wanted to say this is sort of a different video from what I usually do, and this is just to test the grounds. If you like this kind of video, just tell me in the comments, please, because I really don't know. This is very different for me. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.